Hello, everyone. My name is Tuesday, and I write fantasy under the name Mary E. Twomey. And today I'm here to read to you, because if you're anything like me, sometimes you have a little bit of a hard time going to sleep, and so I thought perhaps I could read you to sleep tonight. So, tonight is the next chapter in my book called Savage Hearts. I have read the previous 3 chapters. I had to just check just now. The previous 3 chapters I have read to you before, so if you missed those, see those in previous videos. But today is chapter 4 in Savage Hearts. I have not read this since it was published in 2020, September 2020. So it has been a hot minute, and unfortunately, most of the things that I write have to go completely out of my brain in the next week after they're published so that I can make room for the next series that I'm writing. And sometimes that makes me feel a little bit flighty, but it actually works for me because then I don't feel like I'm writing the same series over and over again. So anyway, we're going to cuddle up, get something cozy to drink, get something cozy to snuggle in, get an animal nearby if you got an animal. I have 4 cats and a dog, so if you hear little jingle bells, that is the cats and the dogs just roaming around the house. And if we're very lucky, one might visit us while I'm reading. So, without further ado, Chapter 4. A Woman's Hand. Santos. The hotel is your average 1-star hole, but for the first time, I'm bothered by our budget-conscious patterns. Obviously, Adelita has more refined taste than this dump. She's gone completely silent, which I attribute to Cruz, though I can't be mad at him for it. She doesn't see that he was trying to help her by reforming her question. She doesn't understand that teaching someone how to protect themselves is Cruz's version of a hug. Shaken as she is, I think she would prefer an actual embrace. I miss Eva. Cruz's sister gives great hugs, throwing her arms around you like you're the best thing in the world in that moment. I bet, given some time, Eva would hug Adelita just like that, and give this poor woman the comfort she needs but won't ask for. Raphael is in the car with her, and every minute that ticks by is one I worry he's going to charm her with his clever banter. He's got a smile that seems to magnetize women outside of the village to him at first glance. Adelita doesn't need that right now. She was just stabbed. I should be with her since I'm the healer, but Cruz knows I don't have it in me to restrain her if she tries to escape. But if she does escape, the Calcoo will find her and do who knows what to her. They don't understand mercy, only dominance. 2 rooms, 2 beds in each, queens if you have it. Cruz ignores my frown until the young 20-something ogling my scars turns to grab us our keys. Women are always wary of me. I sign to Cruz that Adelita won't want to share a room with a stranger, which is exactly what we are to her. Cruz mutters in my direction. I don't care if she's not going to be happy about sharing a room. She'll be safe, which is the important thing. I'll even let her pick who she shares a room with, if that helps you. I'm surprised he's giving her that much tether. Usually Cruz is more controlling than that. Cruz's face sours. Scratch that. I don't want Raphael trying to seduce her. That's more like Cruz, thinking things through to examine all the holes. The receptionist throws him a flirty smile. She's cute, no doubt about it, but Cruz couldn't care less. She could be naked and throw herself at his feet, and he wouldn't dare take her home. Too dangerous. Plus, different worlds and all that. Though Cruz decides to be gracious and rewards her interest in him with a modest nod devoid of a smile. On our way back to the car, Cruz cuts with no finesse. You up for guarding Adelita tonight? I have to sleep, so I know it can't be me. I nod once. I've got a new patient who's been stabbed. I want to tell Cruz that I'll be staying with Adelita until her shoulder is healed, but I sense we've taken away enough of Adelita's choices in life. She probably wouldn't take kindly to my hovering. Cruz is nervous. I can tell by the way he fiddles with his keys in his jacket pocket. He thinks by appearing stoic he covers all his tells, but in the 2.5 years I've known him, he has a myriad of signals he doesn't realize he gives off. We need to figure out why the Calcoo want her. But unlike the last two we rescued, she's tight-lipped. Whatever heightened ability she has, it must be bad. Or we must have blown the whole "the truth is out there" speech so horribly that she wouldn't tell us even if her greatest talent was being able to perform a somersault. When we get into the car, we interrupt her quiet laughter. It guts me a little bit that Raphael is so charming. He's already found a way to make her smile. Cruz slices through the merriment with his steely edict. "I got us 2 rooms around back. We can stay here for a day or so until we figure out our next move." What he means to say is, "We're keeping you hidden until you tell us why the Calcou are targeting you." But kudos to Cruz for not coming out and saying something so asinine. Cruz shoves his keys into the ignition and drives slowly around to look at the back of the building. "Someone has to stay with you, Adelita. If the Calcou got to you once, they won't stop until they have you. Whatever it is you can do, they need it." Raphael translates. "The good news is that if one of us is with you, you're safe. The bad news is that if one of us has to be with you at all times, pick your poison." She smirks at the impromptu term of endearment when he calls her Linda at the end of his sentence. Raphael always gets away with stuff like that. He's good at making people feel at ease. Leave it to Cruz to put a damper on her burgeoning smile. "No, Santos can guard you. Rafi, we don't need this one going the way of the last few we rescued." His eyes flick to hers after he parks the car at the rear of the building. He turns off the ignition and shoves open his door. Raphael takes the verbal chastisement in stride, casting Adelita an exaggerated look of disappointment before he exits the vehicle. "Looks like you're going to have to cry yourself to sleep because you miss me so much. I'll be in the next room if you need me." I'll keep that in mind. She's not flirty or giggly with him. Even so, Raphael is a professional at relaxing anyone he talks to for 5 seconds. Her movements are tight with pain and nerves. I only exit the car once she does. My eyes track her movements for signals of distress she's not comfortable voicing. She narrows her eyes at us. I really don't need a chaperone. Cruz doesn't pull punches, though every now and then I wish he would. "It's not for you to decide what you need right now. You don't know anything about the Calcou. We do. They're targeting you, and you won't tell us why. Until we better understand what we're dealing with, one of us is staying with you at all times." I think we're about to get visited by a cat. We have very few boundaries with the cats being on my desk, unfortunately. But that means that this reading has been blessed by a cat. You're so lucky. She harumphs, and I'm certain we've never seen anything more fascinating than Adelita when she gets riled up. Her eyes tell him off in a dozen ways while her lips remain pursed through her indignation. She reins in her words with a cool, "Not for nothing, but I have to work in the morning. I'm not staying in a hotel with you. I need to go to the hospital. I've been stabbed, in case that's escaped your notice." Cruz's jaw is firm. I wasn't about to offer staying with me as an option. His tone is so caustic that I wince on her behalf. "You'll stay in the room with Santos. He's the better choice anyway. He's the one who got your shoulder to stop bleeding. He's the one who made sure the infection didn't set in. He's the reason you don't actually need to go to the hospital." This cat wants to snuggle, and I'm doing a really good job of reading to you while she wants to snuggle. Be so proud of me. I fully expect her to wilt under Cruz's harsh demeanor, but she stiffens, holding her own. "Are you the reason I don't get to go to my home? I mean, if I'm fine and all, thanks to Santos, then I should be able to go. Am I your prisoner? Are you holding me hostage?" Cruz's lips tighten. The other rescue victims didn't exactly warm to him, but they didn't talk back this much either. Usually women outside of our tribe throw themselves at him before he turns them off with his personality. Then they clam up around him, which I'm sure is how he prefers it. He doesn't like explaining himself or his plans. He wants soldiers, and is used to being revered. I rather enjoy seeing Cruz flummoxed. His nostrils flare 3 times before he answers. "You'd be a prisoner with a shortened lifespan if the Calcou got their hands on you. If we hadn't intervened, they would have taken you already. I trust you're smart enough not to want that." Her eyes are big, and I can see plainly her debate between fear and bravery. I've never seen blue eyes before. Hers are mesmerizing. How Cruz can stare so coldly under the weight of those beautiful eyes is beyond me. Why do they want me? She's doing it again, saying 30 things with her eyes while she shuts her lips tight after a single sentence. She operates with an intensity that captures my attention like nothing else. Cruz holds her gaze for one whole beat before he has to look away from the raw emotion she radiates. They're collectors. Nothing more complicated than that. The fact that they're gunning for you, only you know the answer to that. The sooner you tell us, the better we'll be able to protect you from them. 3 seconds is all Rafi can be expected to hold back. He closes the gap between them and places his hand on the small of her back. It's that little touch and the fact that she doesn't jerk away that seals it. She'll be like the others and fall into his bed. I don't begrudge him his flirtatious exchanges, but for some reason, I wish he'd hold back himself from this one. The others hadn't been stabbed. Adelita is an outsider, and we're expecting her to keep up with no explanations. "What if I don't need protection?" she says quietly. I can tell it's not defiance speaking, but nerves. She's on the cusp of confessing her secret that drew the Calcoo in. I can feel it. I lean in, but at Cruz's scoff, I see her clamming up once more. Cruz misunderstands, as is often his way. He comes down hard on her while I fetch the bags from the trunk. If that were true, we wouldn't have been picking you up off the concrete, unconscious, after slaughtering the Calcoo so you could escape. Like it or not, you need us. You have no idea what you're dealing with. You didn't even know you were being watched. He turns his attention to me. Santos, you need to show her. She hasn't seen you shift. Let her get used to you here. I don't want her to be afraid of me. By some strange twist of fate, I might be the one she's least afraid of, which is a first for me for sure. Back at the village, they call me Santos the Savage. I don't want to put her in that direction. But I don't disobey. Cruz gave me a directive, so after glancing around to make sure no one is around to see it, I comply. I tense up my abdomen and picture my wolf before I blow out my humanity in a long breath. When I start the breath, I'm a man. When I finish, I'm a wolf, standing on all fours in front of her, afraid to look up. I don't want to see her fear. It pierces me more than it should, and I really don't want to be the cause of it. She yelps and jumps back. That seems to be the worst of it. I don't expect her to step toward me with a tentative shuffle. I don't know what to do with myself when she kneels down before me after a few beats, putting herself on my level. I don't focus on the confusion. The longing in her eyes is too strong for me to make out the specifics of her worry. It's not until she addresses me instead of Cruz that I see the bravery there behind the concern. "Can I pet you? Do you still know who I am?" I nod, careful when I step toward her. I lower my head in an act of submission so she can do with me as she pleases. There is nothing better than a woman's hand combing through my fur. It's one of the luxuries life rarely grants me, yet somehow today is the luckiest of days. Adelita's fingers are soft, making me wish my fur was something nicer to present to her. If my human face scares people, my wolf body is even worse. Scars on my animal take away whole chunks of my fur, making me look rabid and wild. I don't get the chance to assure the villagers that I'm tame before they're shirking away, moving to the opposite end of the street whenever I pass by. But even in the middle of a knife fight, Adelita saw me. She looked past my scars and made the decision that I am not a menace she should fear. I don't even realize I'm laying down until she coos. Suddenly, I'm her puppy, and my only job is to let her dote on me. I rest my maw on her thigh to show her I trust her touch, and she responds by scratching under my chin. I love this woman. I can't help myself. Whatever love is, I feel it now, caressing my insides in time with her soothing touch. Well, that's new, Rafi comments. And just like that, the mood is broken. As if she's just now realizing I'm a man and this is a new bit of magic she doesn't understand, she lets loose a nervous chuckle. Sorry, I guess I'm a little out of my depth here. Is it okay that I pet you? I respond by running my head under her hand to tell her that's exactly where she belongs. I will keep her safe. If she prefers me in this form, that's fine. Raphael folds his arms over his chest. So we can move past the shapeshifters don't exist portion of the evening? She nods and I see her wince. She needs to lie down. She needs iron from all her blood loss. I'm sure she'd like a shower and some clean clothes. Raphael helps her to stand, rephrasing Cruz's edict in a more palatable fashion. The Calcu are tracking you, even now. Once they lock their focus on someone, they don't stop until they have you. We've been rescuing the women they have been abducting for years. He's calm in the way he delivers the truth, and I can see he's finally starting to hear it. Trust me, you don't want to be someone they catch. If it's okay with you, we can hide out here tonight. Santos can fix up your shoulder, and we'll make sure no one comes after you tonight. His smile quirks to the side. That okay? I can tell she wants to argue every single one of his points, but eventually she deflates at Rafi's logic. I guess that's fair. I'll stay one night, and then we'll go to the police in the morning. I need to look at her shoulder. I tighten my abdomen, suck in my breath as I picture my man form. By the time the air is collected into my lungs, I've spooked her by transforming without warning. I hold up my hands to prove I'm not going to hurt her, and she exhales with a nervous chuckle. Then her lashes flutter, and I can tell she's struggling to stay upright. Cruz narrows his eyes at her, cutting her no slack to adjust to the learning curve that comes when a new world is introduced to a person. The Calcu don't answer to the police. The second they see you go back to your normal routine, they'll pounce. If you escaped 2 Calcu members before, the next time they'll send a flood of them. Whatever you can do, they want you in their cave. They're not going to stop until you're captured. They're all the wrong words, but as she bites down on her lower lip, I can see it inflicts the desired fear that will keep her from running. At least, I hope that's what she hears. Cruz is terrible at people. Cave? Captured? When a swoon hits her, I don't think anything through. I drop the bags and dash to her side, dodging Rafi as I scoop her up. She groans through the jostle to her shoulder, but she's too weak to protest much more. It's decided. I will stay with her. She needs rest. She needs iron. She needs someone other than Cruz explaining things to her. And she really, really doesn't need Rafi's hand on her back. Rafi usually hugs me before we go to sleep, but he settles for a kiss to my cheek instead tonight. Adelita is awake enough that she could protest if she wanted to, but she doesn't. She doesn't look afraid of me or my scars, which is a first for me. She doesn't struggle out of my grip at all as I lead the way to the hotel room and shut us inside, leaving Cruz and Raphael to sort out their evening away from her. And that is the end of chapter 4. And I will read you chapter 5 in the next video. Thank you for reading with me tonight. It was kind of fun to get to know Santos for me and hopefully to introduce Santos to you for the first time. I very much love men dynamics in books, like guys who don't have to be together because they're not really technically family, but they choose each other as family. And I love it when they're incredibly different from each other, as Cruz, Raphael, and Santos are. So I had a lot of fun. Now that I'm remembering this series, I'm having a lot of fun remembering it, and I hope that it was fun for you to listen. If you want to skip ahead, you're welcome to go to the next video. You're also welcome to download the ebook or order the paperback on any of the major retailers. And I look forward to reading to you again. Thanks for spending time with me tonight. Be good to yourself.